filling you in this time on what to expect once you land in Bali, what we're going to be doing at our retreats. Finally, going to let some of the cats out of the bag. Not all of them, though. We got to have some surprises for you still. But also just to help you be prepared for what to pack. And we're going to run through the itinerary so that you have an idea of how to apply that packing to you. So for each person, it's going to be different. For example, which we'll briefly get into, hair. I don't really have any of it. And now neither does Danielle. So, you know, what you pack for your hair might vary, but we will touch on those types of things so that you have an idea of what might be accessible to you in Bali and what to plan for. So let's take a quick look at the itinerary. Before I get into what we'll be doing, I would encourage you to, once you get in that Facebook group with the other women, to chat and see if other people have ideas around when they want to come. Definitely feel free to come before or to stay after. I would actually encourage it. It's a long flight. It's a worthwhile flight, even if you're only there for the length of our retreat. But Bali is a really beautiful place that deserves, I mean, you know me, if you watch any of these other videos, by now you know that I'm a little bit obsessed, and I've already felt like 2 months there wasn't enough. So I'm a bit biased, but do think about how you want to add before or after the trip. But once you get there and you are coming from the airport, assuming that you arrive on December 29, we will have a driver to greet you. And then you will come to the airport. You will be driven and taken care of. They will have your name on a sign. Don't worry. There will be a lot of people trying to get you to get in their car. Don't. If they don't have your name on a sign, it's not for you. And we'll take care of you at the hotel as well. We'll have a welcome ceremony and dinner. And we have some fun things planned there. Again, I can't give you all the details. Some of it will just be for you to experience. And then Danielle's going to do an opening session, and I'll let Danielle give a little something about how we open our retreats.
Yeah. So safe space is really important, and so we'll do some ceremony and some ritual around collectively co-creating safe space as a group, and we'll get to know each other and ourselves intimately right off the bat, like you said, Carlene. Like, if you've watched these videos before, if you've heard me talk about the retreat at all in the past, then you know that day one means that we get right into it. And so we'll definitely be exploring ourselves, our wounds, and what it is that we're here for as we set the intention for the experience. And then I'll be guiding and navigating you all through that. Beyond that, I'm not giving any other details. I won't be giving any details about any of my sessions. You'll have to come and experience them firsthand. They're very unique in that they're really tailored to the folks who are there and what comes up throughout the retreat along the way. So just know that every session with me will be very unique and very tailored.
Yeah, and I mean, even if just to kind of piggyback off what you said, even if we told you what we had planned, a general theme, as Danielle said, it's very tailored. It will be for the people who will be in the room. Mm-hmm. And yes, we will cover general themes, but and we are both pretty meticulous about being thorough with our curriculum, mm-hmm. but it is for you, which is why we have a small setting. We want to make sure that we can help you apply the principles for you. There's no generalized workshop on, I shouldn't say there isn't, but this isn't a generalized workshop on how to move through trauma. This is you dealing with your trauma. So we can't like pre-write that completely. So yeah, that's going to be, I like seeing Danielle work, and so will you. So then on day 2, December 30th, we have breakfast. The hotel has breakfast available. It should be a really great spread. They have a couple of restaurants on site, but the breakfast will be available. This is optional for you if you want to sleep a little longer, if you want to eat a little less, if you want to grab something at a cafe around the way. We will be near many different options, but it is available for you and it is included in your ticket.
Yes, and this is something that we would call Bloomer's Choice. So Bloomer's Choice is where you have the option, you have the luxury to decide what's best for you in that moment. And you'll notice if you've seen the email where I'm outlining the itinerary, that there's this reference to Bloomer's Choice, and that's what that is. Bloomer's Choice means that you get to identify what you need, and that's intentionally put throughout the entire experience. Again, because everybody's going to be different. Some people are going to want more social activity. Some people are going to want to retreat. Some people are going to need to sleep in. Some people are going to need to fuel their bodies. You know, it's going to be different, and so you'll notice that in there a bit.
Yeah, and as Danielle pointed out, you'll notice in how we structure everything, there's the balance we're striking of structure and flexibility. So there's the structured program, but you can come before, you can stay after. There's the structured curriculum, but there are breaks in there for you to choose what you want to do at that time. Whether you got in a really great conversation that you need to finish with someone, or if you need to take a nap, or if you need to journal. So that's all written throughout how we've designed this program, and also in our meals. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out.
Absolutely, which is actually a perfect segue into the next session, which is yoga, because I teach from a very similar philosophy where we're focusing on alignment, structure, but there are a lot of modifications. So if you have any injuries, if you have any ailments, if it's your first time doing yoga and you're like, I have no idea, if you are looking to turn up the heat in your practice, if you're looking to have something that's a bit more restorative, you'll notice that the way that I teach is going to cater to all of those things very intentionally. And so wherever you are in your practice, I say to you, no worries, just show up fully. And you'll be able to get what it is that you need out of the practice. And I'll definitely be able to facilitate that with you so that you're learning and you're growing, you're stretching physically and energetically through the practice. The practice is designed to do that, but that you're not going past your threshold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can attest to that. Having done yoga with you, that I mean, sometimes I'm a beginner, sometimes I'm an intermediate, depending on how consistent my practice has been. And regardless of where I've been, and even in seeing the different levels of mobility and flexibility and activity and size and shape and everything in our previous work, I can piggyback on that wholeheartedly. That, again, the whole theme is structure and flexibility, tailored for you. That is why we have it as an intimate group. And then the next session will be with Danielle. It'll be good. That's all you need to know. But on the website, we have some.
I thought I'm giving nothing away.
Right. We have on the website some general themes of the types of things that we'll be talking about. You know that we're going to be addressing things like emotional liberation and manifestation and coming through trauma and identifying your purpose and your identity and feeling convicted in that. And then also into how that looks on paper. How do we walk with intention in a way that's clearly articulated for ourselves, but in a way that we can also articulate to other people. So those are all the things that we will be dealing with over the course of the retreat. The sessions will deal with that. Our guests will address that from different angles. And we have it'll be good.
Yeah. One thing I do think that's important to note is that our work is deeply rooted and inspired by folks like Brene Brown, women like bell hooks. So if these names are ringing a bell for you and you really admire their work, we also really admire their work, and they've really inspired the way in which Carlene and I show up, you know, at the retreat, but even more deeply the way in which we've planned the retreat. The entire process from beginning to end really has been rooted in Brene Brown's wholehearted living and bell hooks's explanation of love.
Yeah. And if you're not familiar with those things, you got time. You can dig into it. 10 Guideposts of Wholehearted Living, and look up what Bell Hooks has to say about love and all about love, and in her other books in that series. But so the way that the days are generally split up is we have what we're doing in the morning, we have what we're doing in the afternoon, and we have what we're doing in the evening. That's generally how it'll look. So for lunch, we're going to take you out on us. It'll be great. And we really want to expose you to some vegan-friendly options, maybe some raw vegan options, but you will be full. We're not about meager dining. If you want to eat to how you want to. We got you on that. So again, flexibility for what you feel you need in those moments. And many of the places will have vegan-friendly options, or if you aren't vegan, there are those options there too. But I would encourage you to, you know, over the course of the retreat, see what that feels like and see how that supports your experience choosing a vegan diet. And then when we come back, we'll have a session with me. I'm really excited about it. I am really excited about it. I'm really excited about the whole retreat. I've just been like really working on fine-tuning a lot of things, even developing things from the previous year, and just I'm excited about it. And then dinner will be Bloomer's choice. So again, as we mentioned, where we will be, where the resort is very accessible in Ubud. You can walk to pretty much wherever you want to go, or you can hail a ride. You can do that with friends. You can do that independently. And there's also the restaurant on site, and you could order room service. So that is entirely up to you how you want to do that. So the independent dinners or lunches are the only things that are not included in your ticket. There's one of these per full day, so really three. There's 3 meals that you are responsible for, and that's really just so that you can choose what you want. Otherwise, the breakfast, as I mentioned, is included, and yeah, so then you can expect that to be supported for you. And then, Danielle, do you want to briefly talk about what we'll do? Well, you won't, but you host a session when we get back. So that's really what day 2 looks like. And we have flexibility in there to see how you all are feeling. We have some optional things that, again, having structure, but keeping it flexible. So if you're feeling up to going out and you're not suffering, or if you are suffering from jet lag and you're like, this feels like the middle of the day, you have options there. So we'll make sure that you are taken care of in terms of options.
So some of the general themes, in addition to what you've mentioned, that I'll specifically be teaching to, definitely forgiveness and how forgiveness weaves into the manifestation process. I'll be speaking to, I'll be definitely working to assist you all in addressing whatever trauma may come up, whatever trauma may already be existing, and really clearing the space so that we can manifest from this full and this whole space versus a broken and fearful space. And using certain tools and techniques for manifestation, such as radical gratitude. So really walking us through what that process looks like and how we utilize that process to actually manifest.
Yeah, and I should point out that, like, even though we're not giving all the details and we're independently responsible for the curriculum that each one of us teaches, it's not disjoint. Like, we have very intentionally woven together the themes that we're talking about and when we're talking about them. So Danielle will speak about radical gratitude, and there's a lot about gratitude in my curriculum as well, intentionally woven in a way that brings both of our perspectives in there. So if you are familiar with any of the content that we've shared, you know that we describe ourselves as two sides of the same brain. And so with Danielle bringing a right-brained perspective that may be very emotion-driven and movement-driven and feeling-driven, the themes that we discuss will be the same themes from different perspectives, so that wherever you fall on that spectrum, because I'm a little bit more of a left brain person who comes from a structured perspective, and there's overlap in how we interact with life. I'm not only left brain and she's not only right brain, but these are certain things that we emphasize in our curriculum. So there will be overlap in our content, not duplication, but supplementation. They're complementary. Day 3 is more or less is similar. Oh, no, I'm lying. Day 3 breakfast is available to you if you want it. Or you, again, bloomer's choice. You can do what you would like, but it is included at the hotel. Then we are going on an excursion to really explore how we respond to fear. And it won't be too crazy. There will be options for you. There's levels to this, but you can choose what fear looks like for you. Some people that will be different than others. We're not necessarily triggered by the same things. And so we can explore what that is and then get into some real applications of what wholeheartedness looks like, what approaching life from a perspective of love rather than fear looks like. And we're going to dive into that with one of our guests, Tiffany Lester. Really excited. Again, we're taking you out to eat at one of my favorite places that has a lot of raw options. But when I tell you, I mean, I say raw and you're probably like, I'm not a vegan. I'm not a raw vegan. I'm not even currently vegetarian, but we'll see what that's looking like by the time I get to the end of the year. But this place is just really good. It's just really good. Yeah, and it's really filling, and there are many options on the menu for you, and we got you on that meal as well. So then we're going to come back and again dive into what does that look like. If you're familiar with my content, I have an acronym called FIERCE that is really all about approaching life from the different categories in a wholehearted way. So how do we move through life in a very intentional way that is fierce, it's passionate, it's driven by conviction, it's driven by a clear sense of your identity, and it's releasing fear. So what does that look like? And each one of those letters of the acronym stand for a different category. So F is for form and fitness, which is why we start off with Dr. Tiffany Lester talking about how to be fierce in our bodies. And then we get into imagination and intellect and empathy and empowerment and how we relate to each other and going down through the list. So we will dive into that, and you will get to work on what your fierce life looks like. Then you will have Boomer's Choice again for dinner. And we'll bring it back with Danielle and I. So day 4, this is our last full day, breakfast again, yoga again, and a really great session with Lauren Ash from Black Girl in Ohm. Odds are you're familiar with her, but if you aren't, go check out blackgirlinohm.com. And they're on all over social media. And Lauren is also all over social media, and her website is there as well. We did a video with both Tiffany and Lauren, or separate videos with Tiffany and Lauren that are available for you to watch for you, for people who are planning to attend the retreat. If you haven't already seen them, I learned a lot from them, which is really exciting to me because even though this is the work that we kind of do full time, the journey of learning and being a student never ends. And so we're excited to collaborate with people who inspire us, because that makes it really easy to be excited about sharing what they have going on. We'll have independent lunch, and then something I'm really excited about. We have a really great excursion.
Yeah.
I don't really want to tell you. I don't, just be prepared. And there will be water involved. So there's that. And then we'll have a really great closing celebration and dinner that we will take care of for you. Mm-hmm. And then on January 2nd, day 5, we have breakfast, yoga, and a closing session with all of us. And if you're leaving at that time, your airport transport will be taken care of by us for you to return to the airport. As soon as you know your travel itinerary, particularly the things directly before and directly after, do reach out to us with that information so that we can be sure to accommodate you, know when to expect you, greet you when you arrive. We're really looking forward to that. And of course, if you are taking advantage of those airport transfers, we have to know. But we'll get into all those details with you. We have some optional excursions, shopping exploration, things that we will come up with together. We have a list, and I think it would be really great for us to vote based on who will be remaining afterward and choosing to join us. But for as long as you stay at that hotel, the breakfast is included. But for the retreats, that is what we have planned for you. And if you want to stay before or after, you're welcome to.
Yes. And what Carlene is talking about right now is the 2 bonus days that are included, where Carlene and I will share more of our curriculum and our teachings with you all at no additional cost. And then we'll have more time really for us just to commune together in sisterhood. So if you, are planning to stay later and you want to essentially have a 7-day retreat opposed to a 5-day retreat, then that's an option for you. The lodging is taken care of up until, up until
January 2nd.
Correct, January 2nd. So the lodging won't be included. The meals will no longer be included except for breakfast at the resort. But all of the curriculum will definitely still be included. And of course, the sisterhood. So that's something that we'll be talking more about if, once you decide if you're going to stay late, come early, etc., then we'll really be tailoring that, because the group will likely get even smaller. And so we'll have an even more tailored experience. And we'll definitely need to know that in advance so that we can plan, prepare, and tailor it prior to the experience. And if you are not able to attend the additional bonus days for the experience, then Carlene and I, the support that we offer goes way beyond January 2nd, right? So it's not just, okay, retreat's over, done, go back home, that's the end. That's not how we cultivate the sisterhood that we're looking to cultivate. And so whether you stay, whether you've got to go right after the retreat, know that the experience can certainly continue if that's something that you're interested in.
Absolutely. Yes. So now that you have a sense of what we will be doing, what should we pack for those things? So definitely clothes that you feel comfortable moving in, because we will be doing yoga, and you want to have free range of motion.
Mm-hmm.
You will want clothes. I know that Danielle, you cover this in the email in terms of we will be wearing all white. So that will be one thing that you will need to bring.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think of anything in particular. So Bali is a tropical climate, a country with a tropical climate. So you will want to think about that. You will want to be cool. It's not a formal place, and none of the places that we will be going to are particularly formal. Unless you hear otherwise from us, plan to be comfortable and casual, with the exception of, you know, specific things that we will itemize on the itinerary for you once we send that out.
Yeah, whatever you're gonna feel good in, whatever it makes you feel like you get to show up as your best self, then that's what we recommend you wearing. You know, definitely outside of clothing items, sunscreen is something that is highly, highly, highly recommended. We're going to be spending a lot of time in the sun. And though most of us are melanated, we still, you know, it's still important that we protect our skin. And so a way that we do that is through sunscreen. I cannot stress that enough. People with melanin need sunscreen too. Yes.
Absolutely. And let's see if I have anything else here. You may want to look into things like packing cubes if you want to organize your stuff. We're going to talk about carry-on versus non-carry-on in a minute, but just want to make sure that I'm covering everything that would be essential. It may rain, so you may want to think about that, having a light jacket. Of course, you know, you'll need things to sleep in, sunglasses, dresses, skirts. If we go to any temples, then you'll need your knees to be covered. So they may suggest, or for like $1 donation, offer you a rental of a sarong just to wrap around your waist, and your shoulders also need to be covered. So
like this, a shirt like this would not be appropriate.
I'm not even sure. I don't know if you can see, like, this is mesh. I probably wouldn't. You know, we just want to be respectful of the culture. If we're going to a temple, that's a place that people hold sacred, and so yeah, we would want to be respectful of those things. But that's how we would demonstrate respect, and they wouldn't let you in without that. Oh, you'll want, this is one thing I wanted to mention. The power voltage is different. So you will want to make sure that any electronics that you bring, things like your cell phone and your laptop, should already have the ability to handle the increased voltage. So what you'll really just need at that point is, I have one here, a converter. I might be calling it wrong, but the adapter for the plug so that it fits into the plug. But if you're bringing things like a blow dryer, which would be in the hotel, but just as an example, maybe don't. or make sure that you look into making sure that you have a voltage converter. There you go. You have it. Mine is just oh, here it is.
You can just get off of, yeah, exactly. You can just get off of Amazon. What I love about this, this is an all-in-one international adapter. So no matter where I go, I can, no matter what country I'm in, I can charge my phone, my laptop, etc. And it's pretty inexpensive for you to just order off of Amazon. Of course, you'll want to bring your toiletries, especially if you have particular brands that you like to use. for your face, for your body, for your hair. And then you'll just want to bring them in travel friendly size containers. So rather than bring in the entire size, just, bring enough for about a week. So something like this, or like this, something that's mini. I believe it's 3 ounces, or less.
Yeah, so that's going to depend on if you check your bag or not. In your carry-on, you're only allowed, it's 311. So that's 3 ounces, max of, it needs to fit into one quart bag. And it should be Ziploc of 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters. That's for the US, that's for TSA. I'm fairly certain that internationally that's the same based on my previous experience. You could double check that, but if you're checking a bag, then you can bring liquids of any size. But if you're bringing liquids, just make sure that you like double, triple bag that, because you would hate to put that in a bag and then have it end up everywhere.
Yeah. So one thing that I do, and really, I mean, this video, I know Carlene and I were really excited in particular about this video because we're both just avid travelers, and we just love to share the tips that we've acquired over the years, in part from like research and also largely in part from making the mistakes in the past, and then obviously having learned from them. So one thing that you can do if you've got something that's liquidy to ensure, it does use more plastic than I would prefer to use in my everyday life, but you can just take off the top, put just a little bit of saran wrap, put it on, and then just seal the lid with some tape. And then I still put it inside of a little zippy or a little, it's the size of a zippy, but it's not, it's a reusable zippy essentially.
Yeah. So you'll want in your carry-on, you'll want any medications, vitamins. If you fear that you might get nauseous if you're going to be experimental with food, then bring whatever you use to deal with that. I mean, we're saying all this, bring all these things, but Bali has a very strong tourist industry, so these things will be accessible to you and they will be affordable. So if you run into any hiccups, then you won't be up a creek without a paddle. There will be options for you. It's just for toiletries, if you have, for makeup, that's one thing where they have a lot of tourists, but not necessarily a lot of melanated tourists. So if you have things that are shade related or like texture related, you may want to bring your specific brands. I think that that's essentially it in terms of, we will share a link to like a general packing list for good international travel tips. Having an empty water bottle will come in handy for you. Bring a journal and a pen. And one tip I would say about important documents. You might find it beneficial to take a picture of like the important pages of your passport on your phone. Or store it somewhere safely in the cloud so that if anything were to happen and you're needing to go to the embassy or recover, whatever you need to do in the rare occasion that could happen, then, because it's hard to get ID without ID, right? So finding different ways to show that. Am I missing anything? I mean, we already did a safe and affordable travel video.
Right, exactly. I mean, I would say as far as like bare bones, I don't think that you're missing anything. I will say this: if this is your first time traveling, your first international trip, or you just have, other questions and you just are like, I want all the tips, give me all the tips, then reach out to either of us or both of us individually, and we will be more than happy to give you the rundown of what has worked really, really well for us. Because both of us are team carry-on, which we'll get to in just a minute, we've had to become very efficient with packing in particular, and making sure that we have everything that we need for a trip, but that it's minimal. So minimal but effective.
Yeah, absolutely. So another thing to take note of is in this video somewhere in the description, or if you're watching this on our site, then we will have links to other resources, additional content. I just want to make sure to get to everything that we can only tell you about our retreat, rather than some of the more general things to pack. So you know what to pack for our stuff. Be comfortable, be free, be fierce, be flowing, feel most like yourself, because that's really what we're going to be stretching. I think Danielle and I probably agree that manifestation is centered in clarity of identity and purpose. Or manifesting the things that you want for your purpose come from clarity of your purpose. So
and just a centered space, a healed space, you know, removing the muck. If you're in the muck, it's challenging to manifest. And if you do manifest from your space of muck, it's likely that you're going to manifest more muck into your life. So,
yeah.
What were you
less muck?
Yeah, less muck. No muck.
Yeah, so let's talk pros and cons of team carry-on.
Okay. Favorite topic.
Ever.
Cons. Are there any? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so if I had to name a con, because my pros list is super long. So to be fair, if I had to name a con, if you have a lot of stuff and you want to be able, you're like, I know I'm going to like rack up on souvenirs, I'm going to bring a lot of stuff back, then you have, of course, limited space to your carry-on. So in that case, if it's an extended stay or you have lots of things that you'll want to bring back, then maybe a carry-on isn't the best fit, because it does limit space, of course. Do you have any cons you could think of?
Yeah, mainly related to extended stay. You do have to be strategic. You can't pack maybe as haphazardly as I sometimes like to. I just went to Florida for a few days and I overpacked and I didn't wear a fraction of what I packed. But
were your team carry-on?
I was.
And you still had more than you needed.
I did. And you know what? It was good that I packed, and I had enough space, because my mom sent me back with like as much clothes as I came with. I don't even know how that works out. She's always trying to dress me, which is fine with me. It's good for my budget. But yeah, I will say though, one of the biggest pros of carrying on only is that when you have to go from, when you have a lot of traveling to do, if you're traveling from one airport to the next, or you have a long layover and they make you collect your bag and go to the next, if you're by yourself and you're juggling all of that, that can be stressful. It can really slow you down. No one is going to be getting a direct flight. I shouldn't say that. It won't be nonstop. It could be direct to Bali. But so if you have to get your luggage, or if you're doing an extended layover where you want to get your stuff, like, and you want to be able to move around, all the things that we told you about in the previous safe and affordable travel video, where you can like get off and have an extended layover and see the place where you are for a brief amount of time. That's not fun when you're carrying really large suitcases. So if that's flexibility that you would like, then you may want to go carry on only. But as Danielle said, the one con that I could say for me, so I just moved and I moved into a bigger space and I want to bring some decor items back with me. And I'm also planning to stay for several weeks. I'm probably, it hurts to say,
So I'll say this.
I know. Okay, but before you do, because I know you got a good story, but like before you do, let me just take my case. Make my case. I'm already, I don't know. I'm already second guessing this choice, guys. It's like I've done it both ways. But we will be taking care of you. So in terms of being in Bali, once you get there and drop your suitcase off, if all you're coming for is the retreat and you know that you're planning to go from your place into a vehicle, into the airport to check your bag and leave it, and then you're planning on going straight through to Bali and you're going to just pick your bag up and walk to the next car, then okay, I guess. But still, caution. just saying. If you want to be like, oh, maybe I can go to Thailand and then Bali. You don't want the extra, you just don't. You don't want the extra bag.
Right, which is what I'm thinking about, going to Bali and then perhaps Thailand afterwards. And okay.
So, story time.
Yes. I'm gonna keep it real short because because I obviously feel really strongly about it. And I only feel really strongly about it because of my lived experiences, right? Because what works, works. But on this particular trip, if you know me or you've been like following the journey, you know that I just moved from Chicago. So I shipped all of my stuff out of Chicago. And then I went to Essence Fest, and now I'm here in Ohio. And then when I leave here, I'm actually going to be traveling overseas. And so with all of these different extended stays, and I brought gifts for folks when I was in Essence and gifts for my goddaughters here in Ohio. And, definitely going to be, bringing some stuff back for when I was overseas. So all the things that Carlene and I mentioned that, okay, maybe it may make sense to not be team carry-on. So I also convinced myself of this for this trip. Like, okay, well, for this trip, I'm not going to be team carry-on. Like, no big deal. It'll be fine.
It wasn't.
It was a big deal, and I wasn't fine. Immediately, when I was leaving Chicago, I hadn't even made it to the airport yet, and I was already texting Carlene, like, I'm immediately regretting this decision. I'm trying to figure out how I can just, like, rid myself of this luggage and just leave it right here where it is. Like, who cares about the stuff that's in it? I just need to be done, because you have to figure, like, all of the logistics, even in, like you said, traveling up the stairs, right? Like, with the suitcase. So you've got your personal item, maybe it's like your little bag or your tote. Then you've got your carry-on, and then you have your checked bag. And my checked bag wasn't even like the super large size. It was actually a smaller size, but it obviously needed to be checked. And so you've got 2 suitcases plus your personal item, and you're trying to travel upstairs. There are also all people who are also trying to move in that same direction. So you're in a crowd, right? And just trying to find space in an Uber or a Lyft. And if you're like sharing, so then it's less likely that you can do like Uber Pool and save money, because now you've got all this baggage. And just the whole line of like trying to it seems like, oh, you just pull both luggages behind you. Listen, Linda, and it's just a headache. It's just trying to navigate. Just like I didn't feel free. I felt like I was constantly tied down. I couldn't make quick on the whim decisions because I had to quickly think about, oh, well, my baggage, where's my baggage going to go, etc. And so this was the first time in 7 years that I was not team carry-on. And I thought I was going to go to Bali, like, not team carry-on too, because for all the reasons. But after this experience, I might. We're going to see. Y'all, if you come to the retreat, you'll see. And if I'm not team carry-on, I will let you rag on me, okay? But seriously, I'm looking at this luggage right now as we speak, and I have one more leg of my trip. Like I said, I'm going international. I'm like, maybe I can just get rid of all of this stuff and just be team carry-on, because it just allows you to breathe easy. It allows you to just and not have to worry, and you can go and you can move quickly. And for me, it allows like more room for just like on the whim exploration and adventure, without necessarily being tied down. So you have to think about your intention for the trip and obviously what's going to make the most sense. Shoes tend to take up a lot of space. So what I do is, one shoe per occasion. I have a dress up shoe. I have my casual shoe, like maybe like a sandal, and then maybe like a shoe that can be for like a lot of walking and or adventure, right? So usually just like 3 shoes, but ideally maybe even just 2. Because if you have the right sandal, it can be a crossover for dress up, which is what I tend to do. And then thinking about clothes that can be mixed and matched and paired in different ways. So tending to gravitate towards some of this like similar shades of colors, and essentially creating like a capsule wardrobe when you travel. For me, it just like makes it easy and simple, but obviously, you have to decide what's going to work best for you, and whatever works best for you is what's best for you, and that's cool too.
Yeah, something you said really like hit me in the chest. um, Centering around how baggage literally and metaphorically weighs you down. And that's so much of what we're talking about at this retreat, which is how can we be free? How can we move in the direction of what we actually want? What actually facilitates what we want to feel, what we want to experience? So I would just encourage you to even translate that idea to as you're packing. Don't let fear of, oh, what if, don't pack for the what ifs. Mm-hmm. What do you want to attract? What do you want to experience? What do you want there? And also know that you can always get something there. And then you can give that away. You don't, it can serve its purpose. It doesn't have to be a weight. So that's something that I would say in thinking about how you choose. It's something I say a lot. Whatever the outcome can be the same, but make sure that whatever the why for what you choose is that you're moving towards something rather than away from something. So this is a micro example of moving like toward love and toward what you want more of and releasing fear. So don't let fear dictate how you pack your suitcase. Trust that you'll be taken care of.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And at the end of the day, again, we've said it a million times. We'll say it a million more because it truly is. It truly is the truth. We're going to take care of you during this trip. So if you're like, oh goodness, I forgot sunscreen, we're not going to let you just go out into the sun without your sunscreen. We're going to share. We're going to make a way to get you some sunscreen, whatever needs to happen. So of course, we're not recommending that all 20 of you just like don't bring sunscreen. We're asking for a little bit of responsibility, a little bit of accountability. But should something happen where you forget something or you don't have something that you need, we're definitely more than willing to stand in the gap to assist you in making sure that you do have what you need. And so, yeah, with knowing that we are your personal travel agents and that our duty really is to care for you during this experience, you can free your mind of worrying and wondering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as we've said before, our intention is for you to have an experience that makes you breathe a sigh of relief, like that you are taken care of. You want to step off the plane. I mean, we can't control what the line looks like in immigration, but from once you get to us, that you can breathe a deep breath. I was gonna make a note of something. Oh, yes. And on that note, I'm not gonna be afraid of not being team carry-on. I know that I'm gonna have to bring supplies. So it's cool. I'll bring a suitcase. I'll take it. This is for you all. I love you. Know that this is love. Because I don't know about like, because shipping stuff to Bali is just not gonna make sense. But anyway, it'll probably be empty. What I'll probably do is nest my suitcases. Anyway, that's the pros and cons of team carry-on, things that you should pack. You have a sense of the itinerary, things that you can think about. We will also have this imprint for you, so you don't have to like scroll through this video like, wait, what did they say was happening on which day? We got you. Mm-hmm. All right. I want to make sure to cover currency conversion.
Yeah.
You really won't need a lot of money. Once you've paid for your ticket, like I said, there's only 3 meals that you will be independently responsible for, and it's up to you what range you want to spend. You can get a $3 meal in Bali and be full and be nourished. You can get produce. You can splurge and spend $10 at a cafe. You can get those 3 meals and be comfortable. You could extend to get snacks or whatever, like all of that to say, you won't need to bring a lot of money. You'll mostly just need money for those 3 meals, and any souvenirs or personal items that you want to get.
And a visa, and an on-arrival visa.
Yes, and a visa on arrival. So the visa on arrival is $35, as we mentioned to you. Highly suggest you having cash. This is 35 US. So have 35 US and we will be good. As far as having Indonesian rupiah, that's the currency, IDR, you're gonna be like a millionaire while you're there because it's like 100, like the lowest currency I think is like 10,000, something like that. Anyway, you're gonna be having a lot of zeros. But in terms of how to get that money, there are a couple of options. You'll want to look for I suggest that you use your debit card. If you need cash, go to an ATM and withdraw in the local currency. Don't ask them to convert for you. That makes sense. So what you'll do is you'll put your card in, it'll ask you, put your PIN in, all that, and you will ask for a certain amount of rupiah. They will ask you, oh, do you want to convert this amount to US? No, because then they're going to be charging you their conversion rate. You want to use a debit card, and you can check what your bank's ATM fees are, foreign ATM fees, and your foreign transaction fees.
And let your bank know that you're going to be traveling abroad.
Yeah, that part, because if you don't, then I've been there. It's not cool. Let them know. So yeah, you'll want to let them know before you go. And then yes, you'll make sure to not convert to USD. And generally the US banks or credit unions, you know what their ATM fee will be, and their foreign transaction fee is going to be minimal. But this is a good time for you to investigate what that is for your bank. An online bank that I know that is really affordable in that regard is Ally. Or you can look into another online bank such as Simple. So you can approach that. ATM fees generally around, I don't know, $3 to $5 US. And you can then gauge what you think you'll need, so you don't end up with a whole bunch of extra money. Or you can charge your purchases on a credit card that doesn't charge foreign transaction fees. So one card like that, obviously this is no affiliate situation, but Capital One Quicksilver Cash Rewards, Chase Sapphire Preferred Card. There are many cards with no foreign transaction fees. So if you're just swiping and you don't need cash, that's something that you want to do. Again, when they have you swipe your card and they say, oh, do you want to charge $20 US or whatever the sort of equivalent is in rupees. No, you don't want to charge your card in the US. You want to charge your card in the local Indonesian rupiah currency, because then your bank or your credit card is the one that's handling all the foreign transactions. If you're lucky, or if you make this intentional choice, you have a card that doesn't have foreign transaction fees, so you won't have any benefit, any disadvantage there. If you use when you're pushing the button after you swiped your card, yes, charge US, they're charging you a conversion fee. It's baked in. Just know that. Currency kiosks aren't going to have the best rates, and it may seem like a few cents of a difference, but a few cents per dollar can rack up really quickly when you're spending a couple $100s. And again, don't let the foreign merchants charge you in US dollars. And don't use your credit card for cash advance. Use your debit card. Just, yeah. Those are my suggestions there. A couple other cards you can look into. Charles Schwab Bank charges no foreign transaction fees. Ally Bank is an online bank. Their foreign transaction fees is only up to 1%. And then again, Charles Schwab Bank, in terms of foreign ATM reimbursement, they have unlimited foreign ATM reimbursement. So this is something to look into if you have the opportunity. Ally Bank does not reimburse foreign ATM fees, but again, those fees are relatively minimal, and it will all across the board be more affordable than if you went to like a kiosk or something like that. So this is, again, only really relevant if you need cash, the ATM part of it. So again, if you have any questions about that, hopefully at a minimum, what this does is give you some things to Google, some terms that you may not have known about, foreign transaction fees or foreign ATM fees, things like that. You now can begin to dig a little bit deeper. Self-advocacy is one of Danielle and I's favorite principles that we want to inspire from you. But at the same time, we are here to help you. If you have any questions, definitely ask. We're happy to clear up what we can. All right, now moving on. Danielle, any fun travel hacks or tips to hide money, or like hair care tips from when we both had hair?
Hair care tips. When I would travel, I usually would just do a protective style, because then I could just wake up. It just saves a lot of time in the morning. But you could absolutely, even with being in water and if you choose to swim, etc., you could absolutely wear your natural hair as well, especially with the humidity. Your hair is going to be popping. Them twist outs going to be on fleek, sis. Skin too is just going to be glowing. So you could really do anything, but you know what I would tend to choose when I had hair was a protective style, just because it saved me a lot of time. I didn't really have to like wash hair too much. I didn't really have to like wake up in the morning and like style my hair or like do the twist out at night. If I was tired, like I could just put my, my good old scarf on at night and keep it pushing, take it off in the morning, and I'm good. Obviously now, so easy. And whatever products you do use, bring those. Absolutely, you want to bring those specific products and brands. A fun hack for hiding money.
Can I pause you real quick before we move on from here? I was just going to say, just a reminder, Bali is an island, tropical climate. There will be humidity, as you mentioned. There are 2 really beautiful pools at the resort that you probably want to dip into, so do what you need to do to feel that you could get your hair wet. Mm-hmm. And then we are going, weather permitting, to the beach for one of our excursions. So just, no more details about that because it's going to be really lit. Oh, no, I can't say lit anymore. But anyways, it's going to be fun. It's going to be amazing.
You can't say lit?
It's a story.
Okay. I want to hear about this.
It's Donald Jump, the Junior said that the retirement of one of the Supreme Court justices was lit, and he just killed the word for me. R.I.P. lit. It was fun while it lasted. Yeah. So moving on. Yeah. Yes, so it's going to be a really great time, but moisture will be involved. So just whatever you plan to do for your hair, whatever that looks like for you, just remember that there will be lots of water options that you will probably want to take advantage of.
Yes. So for hiding the monies, there it is. So you guys get to see all of our quirks. One of my quirks is that random accents from unknown places tend to just come out
from places that don't exist.
So that was one of them. But for hiding, so of course you don't want to have all of your money in one place. The wallet is like an obvious place for where people tend to keep their money. So you definitely don't want to have have all of your money there. Fun place that I love to hide my money is actually in a tampon, because who just right. No, it's very, very, very unlikely that anyone's going to come for you and your money in a tampon. So I have multiple tampons together, and I'll pick one of them and I'll like very lightly open up the packaging and roll the money. So it takes a little bit of time and patience, but I'll actually just like roll the money and then slip it in the packaging, and then kind of put that just amongst the other tampons, and then put those in like, a container, whatever you would store your tampons in, and then that's good to go. And you can do that in multiple tampons, depending on how much cash you're going to have on hand. Like Carlene mentioned, for a trip like this, you really don't need too much cash, but if for some reason, for whatever reason, you are going to be having a lot of cash, storing them in multiple tampons or in one if they'll fit. But so that it comes out to be about the size, and you can just see by looking at the other tampons about the size of tampon. So I don't even wear tampons anymore, but that's a little purchase that I would make just so that I could store my tampons. And so whether you prefer to wear tampons or something else, that's a fun way to hide money. Carlene, do you have any tips and tricks around hiding money?
To be honest, I don't have any like particular ones aside from not having a lot of it. I do tend to rely on using my card wherever possible, but if we're going to like a market where people are selling handcrafted goods, then you'll want cash. I tend to just split up my money. So, and I'll hide it, like I'll put some money in shoes or like in socks. And I might have like where I have an emergency stash. Mm-hmm. So I know, okay, how much do I think it would take me to get to an embassy, and I don't know, whatever. And I will have that somewhere that's not conspicuous, and also it's usually something that I'm not carrying on me. So that might be tucked away in my luggage in the hotel. Of course, if someone's wanting to steal and wanting to be really thorough, then they can. But
there are safes in the resort. Mm-hmm. So if you do, like, once you do get there, you can put your money in the safe if that's what you prefer. A lot of these tips and tricks too, I tend to use when I'm doing a solo trip. So when it's just me, but in a group like this, we're going to be on a resort. You really won't have to worry. You don't need a lot of cash anyway. But we're sharing these tips because we like to use them. But we certainly, want to avoid you feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to, like, we don't want you on the trip, feeling hyper paranoid about your experience or what's going to happen, or is somebody, a trip to Bali We're going to be staying on a resort. It's a group trip. You really don't need to worry too much.
Yeah, and I would say that these are kind of like these are savvy money tricks that I think about with any extended stay, where I'm gonna be like I don't want to walk through New York with $500 in my pocket, so don't go to Bali with $500 in your pocket. Um, just typical thinking about being aware of your surroundings and taking with you what you need.
Mm-hmm.
You will potentially have more cash than you might typically. Like, I don't even know if I have any cash right now. It's probably not the greatest. But yeah, you probably would have a little bit more cash on you than you might otherwise. But this is also why using the ATM, there are those fees if your bank charges for an ATM fees. But you really don't have to have a lot of cash on you beyond like a hidden emergency stash in the event that something goes left. Yeah, no reason for this to encourage any fear or anything like that.
Cool.
I think that's it. I mean, some of the travel hacks that I would have mentioned, we already talked about in the last video, which really centered around saving money. So that's really where any of my travel tips and hacks kind of apply, is how to have a flexible trip and an affordable trip and go team carry on if you can. Right. I think that's it for this video. Hopefully you're feeling more empowered to travel internationally in general, but especially as it relates to this retreat, having a sense of what you need. And again, if you have any questions, do reach out to us. The best way to reach us would be at hello@sowtheseedsretreats.com. That way we both are guaranteed to see it, and it is in our workflow. If you message me on Instagram, I'm probably going to get back to you, but there's a slight chance that life happens. But for sure, the email is the best way. And we will really love to hear what questions you have so that we can address them with everyone. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, yes. And if you haven't already applied for the retreat, you can go to sowtheseedsretreats.com. All the information about it is there. The dates, the itinerary, our guests are all listed there for you. With that, we hope to see you in Bali, or before then is even better. And if not, on the internet somewhere. Bye. Thanks for joining us.